Alright, well, this is weird. I guess I'm going to try and start a YouTube channel. Never done this before. But everything I keep doing with this car, everybody's always like, man, you got to start a channel. As everybody might know, or you're going to know, this is my 03 Cobra, nicknamed Stella. What we got going on here is a Gen 3, Gen 5, 3-liter Whipple. Still 4.6, still 8.5 to 1. Been through a lot with this car. I've had it like 11 years. We started with a posi-ported nitrous setup back in the day, rocking like a 75 or 100 shot. I don't even remember what I had on it. But since then, it's gone through many variations. It's had a 3.3 Lysham on it. From there, we went up to a 2.9 Gen 4. And with Whipple on board, we stepped up to the Gen 5 3-liter. I remember when the first goal was just to get this car into the 9s. And my buddy Chris Short helped me all the way through. We got this thing up into the 972, and that was it. I mean, that was big dog back in the day. So we started with that. From there, we decided, well, we got it in the 9s. I wonder what the record is. And then we heard that the record was like 971 or something like that. So we kept pushing. I got the car to go 954 at Mod Nationals back in 2019. From there, I was like, well, I don't think anybody's ever been in the 8s. And I actually got the car down to 9.1, and at that record, we were the fastest IRS 6-speed blower car, basically the 03 platform. That's how it came when you bought it. It had a supercharger, 6-speed, and an independent rear suspension. From that moment, decided nobody's ever been in the 8s, so we're going to get this car in the 8s. So we've been trying for quite a while to get that car into that mode. And actually, just this past month, down in Bradenton, Florida at Streetcar Takeover, we actually got the car to go 886 at 160.5 miles an hour. Let's go over here. I'll show you this time slip here. We got a few of them buried around here on the old workbench. Let's see what I got here. Car went a 142 and a 60. We got an 886 at 160.5. Not too bad. The kicker was the next pass after that, the car actually went 134 in the 60 foot, and as I shifted into third gear, under load in third gear, shattered third gear right out of the trans. So here we are, back on the grind. We're gonna get this car to go down in the 1.2s. We'll see how things play out from there. But the goal is gonna be go get the car. Apparently, the overall record for a 6-speed IRS Cobra is an 871. I think we got 60s in it. I think we can get this car to go 865. But we've got an 850 cage in the car inserted, so that's gonna be the limit because I'm not putting more bars in this car. It's still a street car. Drive it to work. You know, that whole gig. But so we're gonna give it a shot. We're gonna keep going here. We're gonna keep pushing this car. I actually just got Kelly Aiken on board with Keltrack, so we're gonna be taking this thing down, putting a full brand new coilover setup, all the 4 corners. We're gonna try some new valving, see if we can get this IRS setup to work. There's some more in store, but for right now, we're just gonna stick to the suspension swap. So I'm gonna kind of go through my modes here and try this out. Being the first video, we're gonna figure out how to do a full suspension and the IRS and just go over things are going to be changed. So, all right, stick with me. I'll show you more footage. All right, so here we go. We got our IRS set up here. Little Harbor Freight jack. We H&R race springs, Viking Crusaders. These are B345 AMs. They're actually designed for a 1 to 3 inch lowered vehicle. Actually, the way it sits right now, it's actually hanging on the shock, which isn't good for it, but also makes it a little more difficult for getting the shock off. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to set you up tight, and we're going to take an 18mm wrench. You got a factory lock in the back. What we're going to do is we're going to put a little pressure with the jack, hook up on our rear arm, just to get ourselves in a neutral position here. Then we can take off our lower shock bolt. Try and give this the minimum amount of time hanging on the shock because we don't want to damage the valving inside of the shock, letting it droop. Technically, there should be some sort of a bump stop. All right, so we've got a little bit of pressure off the shock so we can get to a neutral position here to be able to get the bolt out. You can see here it comes right out. 18 mil, obviously. So we're going to pull that out. Now you can see this is just about where the ride height was at per the droop of that shock. Watch here as I let the shock out, you're going to see how much more travel there actually was, which is the amount of hang you have on that shock. I'm going to come up with some sort of a bump stop area so that on hard corner or whatnot, street driving, that I'm not actually drooping this down and causing any damage to that shock. So something on the board. As you can see, the stock travel, we're actually like almost 2 inches, I'd say, from where that naturally would sit. So, that's definitely a lot of tension that's being hung on that shock. Right now I have the valving, zeroed out, so zero compression, zero rebound. But these are all going to go. We're going to get in here, we're going to do the new Keltrack setup, and things is about to change in the house. So, these H&R springs, I powder coated them. I used to own a powder coating company. Everything under here is powder coated silver. Originally would have been like dark blue or some type there, but you can peek down there, you see those G-Force Outlaw axles in there. Shout out G-Force. These things have taken a beating on the old 28 splines. Like I said, we've been a 134 and a 60, and I'm not nice to them. I mean, the car makes 1,100 horsepower at the wheels, so we're a little bit past what they rate them at, but you know what? Sometimes you gotta do that. So, all right, gonna go over the other side and do the same thing. That one I'll probably just speed up. Same stuff. All right. So one of the things that I was talking about here with the droop, you can see actually up inside of here, right there, the lower control arm in the front actually makes contact with the subframe of the car. I don't know if I can get up in there. You do with this GoPro. But as you can see, up in this area here, where are my fingers at? Right there, if I was to thread that and put some sort of a thin bump stop, so that on a full droop, the control arm will actually make contact there and stop the downward travel of the control arm. You've got nothing on the other side that will allow that. So that's really your only chance of stopping that travel. I think that's going to be the modification there. I think while I have the springs out, shocks out, and I can actually pick the suspension up, I'm going to come up with something. I should have done that when I had the whole subframe down off of this thing. But, oh well. But tidbit, we'll get there. One of the other things I actually forgot to address here is I run a 2610. They're on a set of whole shot reels. Everybody's always asking me why I don't go to 28. That's actually why, one of the reasons we'll be going to a full coil over here, so that we can achieve different ride heights and be able to play with that versus be street, track, tire size, whatever I'm getting into. But one of the main issues that we actually noticed back in the day, it's not as pretty as it looks. This thing's got some war wounds. Those are from 28s, possibly the 26 even making contact there. But what we're running into here under footage is that actually the tire is making contact with the top of the wheel well. I mean, this thing squats way more than it needs to, especially if we were ever to get to a radial. You don't know. It might happen sometime. But yeah, so there's some battle wounds here that have happened over time. I mean, what can you do? Rubbin's racing, right? So I don't even know what happened there. Hopefully when we get these kill tracks in here, we'll be able to dial the suspension in and paint that black again. We'll see if we make contact. I don't think we will. I think Kelly has got us set up with something that's gonna be pretty strong. Completely forgot. If you, oh man, I'm gonna break this new camera. All right, so one of the things I completely forgot about, if you trace anything back on the 03 Cobras, you're a real Cobra. Everybody loves the polished exhaust. I mean, this is what it's about. Oh, I have a guest. Sounds like Mia's here. Well, let's go see what's about to happen. Here she comes. Let's get used to this. Ah, pity puppy. Mia, come here. Come here. There's a puppy girl. Hi. What's up? All right. So, talking about the old Cobra axle back, I completely forgot that I can't drop the IRS frame down with the pipes in the way. So, give me a minute. We're gonna pull those out. Get asked this quite a bit. What's your exhaust setup? I'm telling you, 2.5 inch boiler stingers. All right, with a 3 inch off-road X pipe, Cook long tubes. It's about as Cobra as it gets, but you know what? Sounds good. So here we are. We've got the rear suspension. The exhaust is off. The shocks are disconnected. I know a lot of guys are big about their low profile bolts. I don't know. I don't have them. I just have regular bolts in there. They don't hit. Maybe because the car's so low, the wheel's like up here. Who knows? Never had a problem. But that's what it is. It's been through a lot. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a jack on the back of the center of the subframe. We're going to take off each of these bolts on each side. I'd tell you what size they are, but probably wouldn't be the same as if you have original ones. But we take each of these out, and then we just slowly lower down the back of the subframe, and then the springs will come out. And that's pretty much it. Next would be going up top, taking the shocks out. So here we go. The blanket's not a bad touch. I mean, if you're doing this with a couple buddies, at least one helper, you can have somebody hold the springs as they're about to fall out. But here you go. Springs are out. Shocks are down. Now if you need to do like a diff serve or something, it really isn't that bad. If you leave the front bolts attached, it will pivot off that front bolt. When you need to put service back up, you just raise it up into the holes, throw the bolts in. I mean, a lot of people are scared of IRS and what to work with. Brake hoses have plenty of slack. Shocks aren't holding. I mean, I love this stuff. The IRS doesn't bother me one bit. One second. Oh, that was fun. That was also one of my favorite photos just fell off the wall. Oh man. Me and the homies. This is Bradenton 2022. And all my dudes. We're all just hanging out. That was a long weekend there. That was last year. We didn't win anything that time. I just wanted to get a photo with everybody from Streetcar Takeover. But yeah. I just didn't get ready to put that one on the wall up here with the shrine to the Stella. But we'll get there. Anyway, back to business. I don't know why that just fell off the wall. Springs are out, suspension's hanging. Exhaust is down on the floor. Probably wouldn't be a bad time to pull that center section out. Start building a 373 setup for maybe some 28s. But one thing at a time. Stick with me. All right, so here we are. We're up top. It's really nothing fancy, but don't forget, some of the Vikings come, they're double nutted up top. So maybe I did that myself. I don't remember, but here we go. 14 millimeter, 9/16, whatever, same thing. So we're gonna pop our top one. I actually had an issue here at one point with my old shock setup. The shock was actually slamming because it was too long. So as the car would completely compress and squat down, it actually was hammering down on these as the shock would bottom out, and it blew out the bushing. So I believe what I actually have in here are like energy suspension sway bar bushings. Some of those a lot tighter. All right, so we got our shock bolt out at the top. A little fast forward, but here's our Viking all taken apart. Double nuts, the bushings. There's actually a part number on there. It may have actually come from Viking this way on 345 AMs. I don't remember. But yeah. I mean, these things have been good. I've had them in the car for about a year. But after this last trip to Bradenton and really seeing some results on this car, it's time for some upgrades. So fast forward, here we are. I mean, everything's out. I'll wait on Keltrack. I'm probably gonna make a couple more clips as I go along here on figuring out something to limit the extension on the rear of the control arms. And then next video, when we get back to it, we're taking around the front and taking everything apart. We're gonna reuse Maximum Motorsports mounts up top. I'm gonna be assembling everything myself, and we will be getting rid of a lot of garbage up here. So stick with me, appreciate you, and man, give me some feedback on what you think of this first video, because there is a lot to come. I picked a lot of stuff. I'm gonna fix everything myself. So, all right, talk to you later. See you.